all is well. So what I wanted to got a burn mark. But what I wanted to come on here live because I wanted to talk to you guys about excuse me, faith and obedience, because obedience is not pretty. You always hear people talk about how they have been obedient, how they did things that God had told them to do, but when you but faith and obedience, they ties together, right? And with faith, with obedience, it's not pretty. Like when God tells you to do something and you go by faith and you do it, it seems like things just fall by the way. It's like everything just be thrown at you, like the enemy tries you. And the reason why things get thrown at you is because that the enemy wants you to be discouraged. He wants you to believe that, well, look at you, you obeyed God, and look what happened. Look how you can't pay your bills. Look how your finances is under attack. And look how people have.
I don't know, but I found these results on search.
I'll tell you that's Google. But um, that's what the enemy be say. And here's the thing: the enemy is a liar, because you will always have the victory. You will always be victorious. And side note, that was a blooper. I don't know if any of y'all have like Echo or like Google, where you could say, hey Google, play such and such. Sometimes out the blue, that thing just say stuff like just happened just now. That's why but anywho, I digress. Let's get back to the subject. But you will always be victorious. You will always have the victory because of who and whose you are. And because we are the daughter or the son of the Most High God. Being obedient is what, even though it doesn't feel like it or look like it when you're obedient, and how things just look like everything, like you're just coming into attack, it's all working for your good. In Hebrews 11, I believe verse 6, it says that as we, diligently seek God, I'm sorry, we will be rewarded as we diligently seek Him. There are rewards when being obedient. Look at Abraham. When God told Abraham to leave the unfamiliar, to leave the familiar, to leave what he was comfortable with, he left. He obediently left. Abraham, he, no matter what God told him to do, he did it. And look what happened to him. Even with Job, like, even though Job lost everything, Job never cursed God. If anything, he told God how he felt. But that was it. After he told God how he felt, he never, blasphemed God or anything like that. So when I just want to let you know that as you're being obedient to what God has told you to do, it's not in vain. It's not in vain. I just want you to know that, and that may your faith be increased to know that everything is working for your good. No matter what God has told you to do, even if your finances is under attack, you got stand on Philippians 4, verses 4 through verses 4 through 6. I'm sorry, verses 4 through 13, and then verses 19, because He'll supply all our needs. He said in Philippians 4 verse 6, make your specific requests known to Him. Our needs will be met. Your financial needs will be met. Your car maintenance needs will be met. Your physical needs, your emotional needs, everything will be met. No matter how things are looking, I'm telling you, you're on the right track. Let me tell you about my testimony. Because anytime you go through something and you have a testimony, it frees other people. And they may be going through the same thing that you may have went through. I have my book, which is called How It All Began. It is available on Amazon. September 2011, God had told me that Jacksonville, Florida is where I would live and raise my family. Now, He didn't tell me to move until August. I had between, August 8th and August 18th to move in 2021. And that's when I moved. I moved my son and I to Jacksonville, Florida, August 7th, 2021. Now, prior to that, I was like, well, God, if this is where you want us to be, I'm quite sure He'll show me a sign or whatever. So when 2016 came, from 2016, I want to say, until 2021, I saw nothing but Florida tags. Now, mind you, my son and I, we are from Augusta, Georgia. So every single day I would see Florida tags. So I said, okay, God, this is this is your this is confirmation that you told me that Jacksonville, Florida is where I would live and raise my family. So when He gave me my date, my departure date, I started looking for houses. And so because He told me, you're going to live in a house, because we was in an apartment back in our hometown in Augusta, Georgia. And so I looked for a house, found a realtor, did the home buying class and everything, was working with a lender as well. Everything, just, having everything in order. And here's a caveat. Sometimes you could be doing things and it could be in order and things can still fall, but you're being obedient. I just want you to know that as you're being obedient to what God is telling you to do, you will reap the rewards. So we moved to Jacksonville, didn't have a house yet, but it was in the works. When we moved here, the guy that I talked to that was working with the lender, I don't know, that was working at the lender office, I don't know what happened, but he was gone. I ended up working with somebody else, and she was like, well, I'll get back with you. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. We're supposed to have a house. Like, we're supposed to be looking at homes. And so I ended up staying at an extended stay, my son and I, and then we eventually ended up being with someone who I thought was my friend at the time that we stayed with as I was getting everything together, registered him from school. I already had a job, so just had to do the orientation and everything. And then also just looking for us a place to stay. And y'all, even though I was looking for an apartment, nothing. And then the person who I thought was my friend at the time, she was like, listen, you gotta go. Now, I was paying her. I wasn't staying there for free, I gave her money, but she was like, you just gotta go. This is just too much. And I was like, well, if you didn't want us to be here, because I did ask her before we, went there. I was like, are you sure? Because I know this is your space. I don't want to, invade in your space or anything like that. So we ended up, staying at the extended stay until I didn't have any more money left. And we ended up being at the Salvation Army. And even though while we was there, at first I was like, Lord, wait a minute. Like, this is where you told me to move. You told me where to apply at and have the job and everything. What happened? Like, I don't understand. And but I knew, because a part of me wanted to go back, to our hometown. But I knew that if I go back, that I will forfeit everything that God has for us. And even though it looked bad, at least at the Salvation Army, we had a place to stay, And one thing is, no matter how things look, it's always working for your good. It's always working for your good. So despite us being at the Salvation Army, God placed people, destiny helpers in our lives that not only helped us, but I also end up being with another realtor who ended up helping me. She was so good. No shade to the other realtor, but she was just she was really good. And we ended up, I had to do the home buyer process again, because that one that I had did back in Augusta had expired. And we got the ball rolling to where I was pre-approved, started looking for a house. And we stayed at the Salvation Army we stayed there like a year and a half. Yeah, we stayed there a year and a half. And then in July, now here's the thing. We moved to Jacksonville, Florida, August of 2021. The end of 2021, we was at the Salvation Army. I want to say September of 2021. We was at the Salvation Army. Then we ended up getting a, we end up getting a house, as you can see, July of 2023. So we was just at the Salvation Army for a year. But my thing is, with me being obedient, he placed the destiny helpers in my life that helped with the process. I was rewarded because I diligently seeked him, and despite how things looked, I still kept the faith. And you know what? What actually matters too is who you're surrounded by. I have a great group of girlfriends that really encouraged me, that really that prayed with me when I felt. Because there are times when you feel like, you may feel down and be like, man, I just don't understand. I'm doing everything right. And just to be able to talk to someone who believes in God just like you do, and you pray and you feel better. But you also stand by scriptures too, because I stood on Philippians 4:19, and I stood on Isaiah 1 verse 19, because I was willing and obedient, and I know I'm going to eat the good of the land. And so I just believe God, and I just want you to know that as you trust and believe God, as you be obedient to what he tells you to do, trust me, you will be rewarded. I pray that from my testimony in this video, it increases your faith. And that I just want you to know that you're on the right track. Yeah, it looks like, I know you may saying, but I was obedient. I don't understand. I was obedient and things just, went by the wayside. Did I do everything right? You did. But just know that the enemy will come against you to deter you, to distract you, to discourage you. But we serve a God that no matter how things look, it all works for our good. And obedience is better than sacrifice. Obedience is ugly. Obedience is so ugly. Obedience can make you look like a fool. But you got to realize our ways are not God's ways. Our thoughts are not his thoughts. And what he has for us is way better and greater than what we think we have for ourselves. So I just want you to know that you're on the right track, and that continue to be obedient, continue to be faithful, stand on scripture, putting God to remembrance. And because if God did it for me, he could definitely do it for you. I went from being obedient to moving our son and I from Augusta, Georgia to Jacksonville, Florida. We ended up being homeless, but I went from homeless to a homeowner. So, like I said, God can do it for me. He can definitely do it for you. So you are on the right track. I just want to let you know that. And to know more about my testimony, I didn't go way in depth in it, but this is available, how it all began. It is available on Amazon. You could just type in my name or just how it all began, and it'll pop up. May you have a great and blessed day. I love you all. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. And may you have a wonderful Wednesday. Just know, God got you. You're on the right track.